It's your Disney Cruise Line embarkation day, so you're ready to get on board. So much excitement, but there can also be stresses. We're continuing our DCL 101 series, everything you need to know about Embarkation Day. That's today on the DIS Unlimited's DCL Show. Hello and welcome to the DIS Unlimited's DCL Show. I'm Chris Forbeck. I'm one of the agents at Dreams Unlimited Travel. Thanks so much for joining us. We're thrilled you're here. We are continuing our DCL 101 series, and today we're going to tell you all about Embarkation Day. Such an exciting day, but it can be also a stressful day. And if you have kids, there's an additional set of stress points. And it's one of those times when you can be exhilarated and completely stressed out all at the same time. How does that work? We're going to go through tips, tricks, and an overview so you know what to expect and so you can be prepared. And here with me, my friends and colleagues, Dreams Unlimited travel agent Elaine Edwards. Hello, Elaine.
Hi, friends.
And Dreams Unlimited travel agent Kristen Turner back with us. Hello, Kristen.
Hello, everyone.
And of course, we have our amazing producer, Jimmy Valdez. Jimmy, thanks so much for doing this.
Hello, how are you?
And of course, we love that you're here too. So thanks for being here. Embarkation Day, we're going to get into it in all sorts of detail. We're also going to tell you a little bit about the Disney Adventure. We're getting to see some more. That's the ship that's going to be based out of Singapore. So we got a little bit of a peek into that ship. So we'll tell you about that coming up. But first, this show, along with everything we do at the DIS Unlimited, DCL fan, UO fan, it's all brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. We are experts at helping you plan your magical Disney cruise, a visit to a amazing Disney theme park, your Universal adventure. Epic Universe, so cool. And of course, other cruise lines. There's no additional cost to book with Dreams Unlimited Travel, none. But we're going to give you insights about your Disney cruise ship, your Disney trip, your where to stay on the Walt Disney World Resort property. It's great. Even a trip to Universal, we know all those hotels as well. This is what we do. And by booking your cruise with Dreams Unlimited Travel, you get a shipboard credit of up to $1,000, depending on the price of your cruise. And I always hear people scoff and say, oh, nothing's for free. This is one of these cases where you're getting free money to spend on board, and it doesn't cost you a dime. Not a bad deal. Best way to get started, dreamsunlimitedtravel.com, and there'll be a cruise or choose you which trip you want to take. Click there and we'll be able to help you. And I always note it by way of transparency, all of us, we are all Dreams Unlimited travel agents. This is our job. It's what we do. But guess what? We do it because we love Disney. And we love Disney Cruise Line, and we want you to have just the best time possible. Our job, both here on this podcast and as agents, is to give you information so you can make the best decision for you and your family. We hope you book with Dreams. It allows us to do this, and we think we do a good job. But if you don't, we hope you'll still have an amazing trip, and this provides you with some information to make that better. Before we get to Embarkation Day, I wanted to just quickly touch on the Disney Adventure. This, of course, is the very different Disney Cruise Line ship. And Elaine, last week it is going to be the first and I believe only ship that has both Mickey and Minnie on the back of on the stern of the ship, the characters on the back of the ship. And we got to see them for the first time. It, of course, is being constructed in Germany, but they are actually putting that on the back of that ship. Those pictures are pretty cool. It's a very different ship, but I thought that was fun to see.
Yeah, it's always really fun to see like what characters they decide to kind of put as like the signature on the ship and everything. And it's really cool that not one of them, it's both of them, and they're kind of like hanging on to an anchor and sitting on it, and it's very like an animated. So hopefully Jimmy can splice a picture in here, but it's really cute. So
well, and in the show notes, I'll put DCL on DCLfan.com. We have a story about it so you can see it for yourself. And they actually have both the artist rendition of what it was going to look like and what it actually looks like. They did a pretty good job, I think. But we'll have that for you and I'll put it in the show notes, which you can find on DCLfan.com. So with that, let's get into Embarkation Day. And I noted that Embarkation Day it's just a lot. It can be a lot. And sometimes you're so excited that it can be a lot. But we're going to go through all the pieces of it. And but before we dive into some of the nitty gritty, I wanted to give you some high level tips. First is, don't panic. There is a lot of moving pieces on Embarkation Day, and it's just you're like worried about passports, you're worried about this. I always say I'm a terrible traveler because I worry about all that stuff. I'm the person who's carrying all that stuff, so I'm always worried about it. Disney Cruise Line does this a lot, right? Most things can be fixed. If you forgot your luggage tags, it's fine. And we're going to talk about those kinds of things as we move forward. The one thing that cannot be fixed is your citizenship documentation. You must have your passport, whatever you're using. We suggest a passport. Whatever you're using, make sure you have that with you. And it is particularly important these days. Have it. It is the one thing that really can prevent you from being able to get on board. So just remember that stuff and keep it handy, and we'll go through that in a couple minutes. Finally, I mentioned that it can be particularly challenging with kids. We're going to focus kind of on this broadly, but the DIS Unlimited team got to do a cruise on the Disney Fantasy just a little while ago. And our colleague Hannah brought her son Owen, so much fun, to Disney Cruise with a 3-year-old. And we did a 2-part podcast. There was so much to say, we broke it into 2. The first one really does a lot of focusing on embarkation with kids. So if you want even more detail, well, I'll have that in the show notes as well. So Elaine, Embarkation Day actually starts before you're getting on board, because really the first step is downloading the app and online check-in, right?
Correct. So this, as we said, it's kind of like a month before. If you are a first-time guest on Disney Cruise Line, you can start your online check-in 30 days out. And if you've sailed before and you've got some status, there's some earlier dates. You get to check in a little bit earlier than that. And when you go through that entire process, you're going to be, uploading your citizenship documents, your passport, birth certificate, whatever you're using. You're going to be uploading a picture of yourself. You're going to be uploading all of your flight information, all of that great stuff. And at the very end of that, you will get to choose a port arrival time. And your port arrival time is that. It's your port arrival time. It's not the time that you're going to get on the ship. I think a lot of people get a little bit confused by that, and they say, okay, my port arrival time is 11:30. So that means I need to get there like half an hour early, right? So that I can like park and walk in. No, you can pull into the parking lot at 11:30. If you are taking like Disney transfers from either a hotel or an airport to get to the port, they are going to automatically assign you your port arrival time, which is basically no port arrival time. So don't feel like if you are taking one of these transfers, you're actually at an advantage, because you don't need to stay up till midnight to do this online check-in when it opens up. Lots of people like to do it right at midnight so that they can get the earliest port arrival time possible. If you're taking Disney transfers, don't need to worry about that, because you're going to get there when the bus gets you there. And generally, it is right at or even before the port opens up to everybody else. So it kind of puts you at an advantage in several different ways.
Kristen, one of the other parts that happens early in the morning of when on your embarkation day is on your phone. And if you've hopefully downloaded the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app, you will get a pop-up notice, and it's the health form. This is something like it just speeds up your check-in process that form is not complex, right? You've done it a bunch of times, right?
Yeah, it's simple. You just answer a couple questions right there on your app, and it will speed up the process. You don't have to do anything actually for the health questionnaire at all when you get to the to port anymore. So definitely make sure you do that. I don't know what happens if you don't. Does anybody know? I mean, I'm sure they'll
go.
Yeah. Please be honest. Please be honest. I know you have been planning this cruise for a year and you want to get on the ship, but please be honest on the form. if you say like you have, cough, sniffles, something like that going on, when you get to the point, they are going to ask you about it and they're going to assess the situation right then and there. And I have talked to several people that I have not talked to anybody that has gotten turned away at the port because they indicated that they were sick. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll just kind of, if it's something minor that, they're just going to remind you to wash your hands, that kind of thing. Go to the infirmary if you get worse, that kind of thing. If you indicate that you have like a fever or that you have like a stomach bug, what I have heard other people's experiences is that they do meet with a health officer and they just ask them to stay in their room the first night. And if they're feeling better the next day, then they can go on about their normal activities. So please be honest. We know that you don't want anything to ruin your vacation, but you being honest about how you're feeling is going to help impact the wellness of the entire ship. And again, this is why we talk about the importance of having vacation protection, so that if you are truly very sick and you can't sail, then you are protected for that, to be able to get your money back. So,
and this isn't COVID anymore, where like if you even showed any signs, it's a different. And we all have experience where people have said, again, be honest. She's right. So when I get all those things together, here's what I do. And if you're watching us on YouTube, I have these plastic little satchels that I will put my port arrival form in there. I will put my luggage tags, that I'll put those in there. I will put my passports in there. I will try and keep all that stuff together in one space so I know it. I know Elaine is going to quickly call up and show us how many. You can also get your Disney Cruise Line port arrival form on your phone. You can put it in your wallet or whatever they call it on Google. You can put it in there so it's available to you. As I said, I'm a nervous traveler, so I have it in I have a printout. I have it on my phone. I have it multiple places because I don't want to not be with it. I want to be as efficient as possible, so I'm not slowing things down. So, but just have all that stuff. If you have it in some kind of bag, keep that in your carry-on bag. All that stuff you need with you, and we're going to talk about bags in just a moment. But keep all that stuff with you. And just, it makes it really easy. They are going to check all the stuff that you submitted when you get to the port. But let's talk before that, arriving at the terminal. And Elaine did a great job about talking about that your port arrival time is a port arrival time, not your boarding time. That will be given to you separately. But Kristen, there are really two ways to do this. You can either do Disney Cruise Line transportation, or you can arrive on your own. Disney Cruise Line transportation, and we're generally talking about Port Canaveral here, will take you either from the Walt Disney World Resort if you're staying there before, or from the Hyatt Regency, or from the airport. Everywhere it will take you from the airport down to the port if you want. That's another piece of embarkation day. Don't show up on the day of. Just plan the day before. There are just too many issues. And Kristen, I'm sure you've had to deal with those issues where people's flights get delayed or something. It can make a stressful day just horrible, right?
Yes, absolutely. Always recommend coming in the day before, sometimes even 2 days before. I have fallen victim to it myself. We just had, it was when flights were getting canceled all the time, and that weird period of, I don't even remember what year it was, where we tried everything. We were actually leaving the day, we're supposed to be leaving the day of the cruise, but super early. Flights got canceled. It's just extremely scary to fly in the day of. You want to fly in the day before. It makes me totally nervous when anybody ever says they're trying to. Even if you've got the earliest flight, do not do it. It's just
too much.
A lot less.
So with DCL transportation, Elaine went through it a little bit, but your port arrival time will be whenever your bus gets you there. Generally, you'll be able to board a little bit earlier than you would otherwise. For Disney Cruise Line transportation, they are going to pick up your bags at the hotel, and they'll make their way to the port a little earlier before you do, so it's nice and easy. In terms of the luggage tags, which will come, and well, they look new, but your luggage tags, you're going to put those on. Don't put them on before you get on the flight, because airlines don't need any confusion, right? Put them on before you hand them off, either at the port or at the or at when you actually when somebody official takes your bags. So Elaine, if folks are arriving on their own, again, port arrival time, what else do they need?
So before we get into that, I do want to say, as far as arriving early, if you are in the United States and you're traveling out of, Florida, Miami, a day before is fine. If you are flying from Vancouver and you're coming from the United States, or if you are going on a European cruise, or if you are from another country flying into the United States, I would even consider coming 2 days or more ahead of time, because you're talking about that much further, probably multiple flights, multiple delays, that kind of thing. Plus, it lets your body adjust to the time changes, eating on a different schedule, that kind of thing, so that you're not jet lagged and trying to make your way through embarkation, that kind of thing. So yes, so moving on.
And I'm just
Yes,
gonna, I want to add real quickly before you go on, but a lot of these destinations are destinations in of themselves, right? Vancouver's a lovely city to spend time in, so spend some time in Vancouver. If you want to get to Port Canaveral early, you can go to Universal, you can go to Disney World. There's tons of stuff to do. So this essentially can be a little add-on for your trip. There's also the Kennedy Space Center, which is right there. Tons of things to do, so I 1,000% agree. Don't life is stressful enough. Don't make that a stress. But go ahead, Elaine. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, so Chris kind of mentioned it, and we kind of talked about it on a press show, that I am a hoarder of my port arrival passes, because while he prints it, and I think that's a really, really, really good thing to do. The way that I personally do it is I will download it to my wallet on my iPhone. I'm sure Google has some sort of version of this, but this is what it looks like. It'll have your name, it'll have your embarkation date, it'll have the ship, it'll have the room number, and then it does actually list your port arrival time on it, up there. And then it has your assembly station letter and all of that. Two things. One, download it to the wallet, and you can set it so that it will just automatically pop up without even unlocking your phone, which makes it very handy, because you're going to show this QR code and they're going to scan this QR code like 5 times in your embarkation process. And so having it ready to go is good. And I put everybody in my party on these, so that I can just easily just flip right through it, and I can show it for everybody that's in my stateroom. It also does list your boarding group number, which we didn't really talk about for online check-in, but you will be assigned a boarding group number. This is nothing that you get to pick. Again, if you are arriving from a Disney transfer, then you're probably going to get number 2 or number 3. If you are concierge, that's going to be like, you're going to get a 1. And if you are doing a back-to-back, then you're going to get basically a 0, because you're going to get on before everybody else. And that's something we can talk about, back-to-backs and re-embarkation later in the show. But so what are we saying? Oh, we're arriving to the port. And so we've got this, and then luggage tags, which we talked about a little bit, and how we're going to wait and put those on. But what if you didn't get your luggage tags? Or what if you forgot them? This
then
is
of course you panic.
Thing. I have so many people that they get about 3 months before their cruise and they start emailing me and they're like, I don't have my luggage tags yet. Well, it's okay. They generally arrive somewhere between 6 weeks and 3 weeks before your cruise. And it is a big window, and it is not a set time. I have had, if you're inside one of those Disney DCL Facebook groups that is for your set cruise, you're going to see people get their luggage tags like 2 months ahead, and you're going to be like, well, I didn't get mine, and start panicking. Don't panic, because it really is kind of very disembobbled and random, so that different people will get them at different times. I have had them come the day before the cruise. I have had them come after my cruise where when the envelope was actually postmarked the day of the cruise. Like, what's the point of that? It's not even that the mail system delayed it. It's that Disney Cruise Line didn't send it to the day of the cruise. I've also not gotten them before. So don't panic if you don't get them or you don't get them on time or any of that. Because when you get to wherever you are handing off your luggage, whether it's at the port or at one of these Disney transfer pickups, they will have extra luggage tags. They're going to be black. So if you know that you're going to need one of those, I recommend tucking a Sharpie into your, little crossbody or purse or whatever, or your pocket or whatever, and very big, just write your stateroom number. That's all you have to do. You don't have to put name, address, phone number, mother's maiden name, blood type. You don't need to do any of that. Just as big as you can, both sides, put your stateroom number. That's all they need to see. And I've asked for more luggage tags because you get 2 per person. No, they're not going to send you more. We can't resend them if they went to a different address or you didn't get them. This time they send them. We have no control. You get what you get or you don't get any, and it's okay because when you get to port, you can get more.
Kristen, the check-in process, as we mentioned, you're going to have to show all your stuff when you get to the port. There are going to be a team of folks. They're going to look at your stuff. Again, it's all Disney. This isn't the first time they've done this, right? It's a very well-oiled machine, right?
Yes, and back to a little bit about Elaine said. You have a lot of panic with those luggage tags, and if they don't show up, it's not a big deal. If you don't have enough, it's not a big deal. I also, and I know we haven't really talked a lot about the Disney transfer process. We always do the Disney transfers, kind of live in the Disney bubble, but I always like that automatic earlier boarding group assembly, not having to worry about getting up or staying up till midnight to do all those documents. For doing that for 6 people always takes a long time. But anyway, I think a stressful process is when they come and get the bags early. That's a whole nother thing that we haven't really talked about a lot, is that when you take the transfers, if you're staying at one of the hotels, they will come and get your bags. And I think that's always, they come before like 7 a.m. So you're supposed to have all your stuff by the door. And I think that's a stressful process because you have to kind of
talk about that, Kristen. How do you prepare? How do you deal with that stress? And how do what I kind of do is I shuffle stuff around, stuff that I'm going to need. I put in my carry-on, and kind of shuffle. And so my bags are ready to go. Again, they'll come and get them between 7 and 8. My panic often is if I'm going downstairs and they still haven't picked up my bags, I'm like, oh my goodness, they're not going to pick them. They've got all that.
So,
but
our issue is that the kids aren't usually up at that time. So they want, they have to have all of their stuff packed up and ready to go, but the things that they need out of it to still get ready. And it's just this, I hate it. But then I just realized they always want to try and put everything in my carry-on bag that I'm going to be carrying around the ship all day, full of hundreds of things, and it's super heavy, and that's annoying. But I discovered last time that I can just take it with me onto the bus, and then once I get off the bus, they'll take it and I don't have to carry it around the whole time. So that was news to me. I was like, didn't even realize that. Also, like I said, if I didn't have enough luggage tags, they'll have more, and you can take, show up at the bus and they'll give you more luggage tags as well. So the luggage tags, please don't stress about them. Like Elaine said, sometimes they don't come, sometimes they come closer. Just don't worry too much about them. I promise you'll get your stuff. So,
yeah.
Kristen, I 100% agree with you about the picking up the bags at 7 a.m. And
yes.
Chris can attest to this because we have gone on cruises for work together. And when he said they're going to be here to pick up the bags at 7 a.m., I said, not mine, they're not, because I'm not ready by 7 a.m. I am high maintenance and I'm not ready, and I want all my stuff. So I took my luggage with me when I went down for the check-in in the lobby that was like 15 minutes before we leave. And I just gave it to them then. And they had the whole rack sitting right there. And they just put it on the rack and added it right then and there. So They will.
Yep,
You don't have to.
That's what I'll
ready
do
to go.
from now on. At least, I mean, they
cou-
can take some things that we desperately don't need, but I want to have a small thing with like my toiletries in it and our phone chargers and everything else. So
A
I'm
couple
there
of
with you.
things that I always have in my carry-on bag. One is if you have or need medications, have those with you. Keep those with you. That's very important. I pack dinner clothes on board. 90% of the time, my luggage will arrive before dinner time, but it could happen, and I sometimes want to change. Guess what? I have different costumes. There needs to be a theme for where I'm eating dinner, so I have often different things that I'm wearing. Back when my son was younger and he wanted to jump in the pool right away, I had a swimsuit, sunscreen, stuff like that. I always like to take my bath kit with me because oftentimes haven't maybe not showered yet by the time they come and pick up. So I carry my dock kit with me. Keep credit cards, have cash with you. Did I mention that you need your citizenship documents and your port arrival form, that kind of stuff? Have that with you. Have your phone. I had one person who packed their phone. Don't pack your phone in your carry-on bags because you may not see that for a little while after you get on board. So keep that with you, and have the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app on your phone. Anything that I forgot that you would suggest, Elaine? I know the kitchen sink you would take, but anything else that we would that you should have in your carry-on bag when you get on board?
If you are like me and you travel with your laptop, carry your laptop.
Yeah,
Do not
right.
put it in your luggage. I had a situation where I was on a cruise with my sister, and Disney Cruise Line unfortunately completely destroyed her suitcase
Oh
somehow
wow.
in the process of getting it from the port onto the ship. It was completely eaten by something. And so if she would have had a laptop in there, it would have been destroyed. So please, anything like that. We also talk about, as far as carrying on, if you want to bring like a case of water. I like to bring water, like cases of water on the ship. If you're going to bring alcohol, there is limits to all of those things that you would want to see on Disney Cruise Line's website, but that you all have to carry on. You cannot put that in your checked bag. I have put snacks in my checked bag and it's been fine. You just want to make sure that it is factory sealed. Don't bring
Mhm.
any open food with you. I know we have a lot of people that want to bring on like protein shakes and things that they need nutrition wise for whatever needs that they have. A lot of that stuff you're going to want to carry on with you because Disney Cruise Line does want to check it. So it's just make sure that everything is sealed, because if you get those, I've told the story on here many times, if you get a whole box of cookies from Disney Springs and you try to go to security with it, they're going to say no. And you're going to be sitting outside of Disney Springs or sitting outside of security trying to eat all of the cookies. So
Kristen, talk a little bit about the terminal experience itself. If you're sailing out of Port Canaveral, at least out of Terminal 8, the Disney Cruise Line terminal, and Disney now has a lot of ships going out of Port Canaveral, so not all of them go through Terminal 8. Sometimes, and it seems to be the Disney Wish goes out of Terminal 10, and it's not as Disney of an experience. But if you're going out of Terminal 8, talk a little bit about what that's like. And one of the things you can get are photos. And they sometimes have a character, they have a model of the ship. It's a fun place to get kind of your first photos there. But what else do you recommend people do when they're waiting maybe for their boarding time to come about?
So one of the things we do is it's the first time you can connect to the Disney Cruise Line Wi-Fi. So we connect to the Wi-Fi and get the kids' apps going, because that's when you can sync up your reservation number. The kids get where they can chat on the app. We also check our dinners for that night, and you can kind of see your rotational dining. We definitely can see your rotational dining, where you're at and where you'll be for the next couple days. And so that's something that we also get excited. You can start to see all of the activities for the day and the shows, and so the itinerary starts to shape up. And that's one thing we do when we get there, is start checking out the app and all the fun stuff on there. There's the bathroom, there's snacks, there's like a snack machine that my kids always want to try to hit up, but I never usually let them. They've always find it. We're usually starving. We don't eat breakfast for the most part because we know as soon as we get on there, we can go straight to eat. So we're usually hungry. And
if you have little kids, I recommend that you bring maybe some munchies, again, factory sealed, but maybe get one of those little boxes of Cheerios or something that, because sometimes it can be a half an hour, 40 minutes before your boarding time comes on. So and they may be hungry. I don't miss breakfast because I know I'm going to be hungry by that point, and I get a little hangry. I know it's hard to believe, but I want to, and kids can get hangry. So I always have something to kind of get them through those moments in case it's longer than we thought. So I bring something to kind of tide us over. Elaine, what else do you do in those moments? And in fact, in the show notes, I'll also post a great photo that Elaine and my better half and I took when we were last cruising, right in front of the model. It's a great photo. It's one of my favorites. But what do you do when you're waiting to get on board?
So a lot of times we will head over to the upgrade desk and see if there are any upgrades available. And I know that Kristen was able to get a really good upgrade on one of her recent cruises where she was able to go up to concierge for a relatively inexpensive price. And I know that Chris has done that before so you just go over there and just ask what upgrades do you have, and they'll tell you that. And it's, there's no way of knowing in advance what the price is going to be or anything like that. They'll set the prices based on, inventory and availability, and it will from whatever category you're going to whatever category you want, there is going to be a set price for that. And you do have to pay for that right there on the spot. And, but you can get a good deal. And it's something to take advantage of. I especially tell people if they are specifically wanting a veranda room, but let's say they were sold out for their cruise because they booked very late and all they had was inside rooms left. I tell them stop at that desk and ask them what's available, because you might be able to get a better room that way. And more of what you're looking for. So that's a good thing to do. Also, one thing I meant to mention this when I was talking about the port arrival pass that I have on my phone. I also like to just take a screenshot of it and keep it in my photo reel, because sometimes there's no internet when you get to the port. Because recently, and sometimes things just happen. The last several weeks, the Fantasy has been over in Europe, and for whatever reason, the information has not been transferring from the check-in process to the people at port process. So they have been having to manually check people in at the port. So they're looking at their cruise documents, they're comparing them, they're doing a lot more in-depth and like getting their credit card on and like all of this stuff. And then I even saw the other day that there was no internet there. The Wi-Fi was completely down. So that has added 2 levels of backup onto this check-in process. So having something that you're not relying on your phone signal or Wi-Fi, like Chris is smart, he's got it on a piece of paper. I like to just save it to my camera roll. So that's another thing that you might just want to be prepared for it. And I 100% agree. I always take snacks because I am a very hangry person, especially in this process where I'm hot, I'm tired, it's loud, I'm overstimulated. There's a lot of people and I don't want to be hungry on top of that. So.
Yep. The other thing, if you have what on Disney Cruise Line they call a Disney band, or if you may know it as a Magic Band, if you're more a Walt Disney World person, they're all the same. But if you have one of those, you can get that linked to your stateroom at that time when you do all that check-in stuff as well. So have those with you. If you have that and get them all linked, you most likely won't need your QR code anymore. You can just tap that and it gets you on board, but still have your QR code. I always have multiple ways of doing all that, so you can do that as well. Kristen, we're getting on board at Port Canaveral. Yeah, go.
Did I see something recently that they are changing from giving you your Key to the War cards? It used to be that when you got there that they were actually on your stateroom door, and that now they've started handing them to people at the port before they get on the ship for security purposes. Have either of you seen that?
I haven't seen that. Kristen, have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I saw some reports within the last week that people are saying this. I don't know if it's a specific ship. I don't know, but I just know people were talking about they were getting handed to them rather than.
It's a good chance to talk about your key to the world card. So they will give you what is a key to the world card. It kind of looks like a credit card. It provides you with basically this, or the Disney band will provide you everything you need. You need it to get on the ship. You need it to get off the ship. You need it to purchase things. You will be pulling this out all the time. Pre-COVID, they gave it to you when you did that initial check-in at the port, and they would give it to you. Then COVID happened, and they did it in the outside the stateroom. I don't know why, but they did. I think to kind of keep things moving and keep people distanced. There have been discussions that may be changing. It didn't happen last time I was on board a ship, so we'll certainly be watching that and update you if next time one of us is on board. We'll let you know and find out. But you're going to get one of these. You are going to need it. The particular time that people forget it is when you're getting off the ship. You need it to get off the ship. That's how they check to make sure that everyone got off. So you're going to need that both to get on, and every guest is going to need one. So if there's 6 of you, as in you're still 6, Kristen, right?
Yep, still 6.
Okay. So if there's 6 of you, you're going to need 6 of these, or you can have everyone have the Disney bands, whatever works for you. So let's get on board the ship. We're actually boarding. That magical moment when you walk on board, Kristen, I love getting on board that Disney ship, whichever one it is. I love that moment.
Yes, Embarkation Day is, and that's what we've been talking about, all the stress, but it is my favorite day of the year. And sometimes it's more than one day of the year in my case, but and then walking on and being announced, it almost always brings tears to my eyes, and that's just, I'm a sap, I guess, but I love it. So you give them your family name and they announce you, and everybody claps and cheers, and then you're in the it's a whole presentation. You're in the atrium, and it's beautiful, and sometimes they have characters, and you can take a picture with the statues, and it's just a very magical time.
And so you're on board, what's the first thing you do? You've just gotten on board, where do you go?
We always headline right to the buffet. So Marceline Market or Cabanas, depending on the ship. And we eat first, and then we go to an empty pool most of the time. It's pretty empty because we always take, like I said, take Disney transportation, get one of the earlier boarding groups, and we eat pretty quickly, and then enjoy a fairly empty ship until it starts to fill up. And that's pretty much been our routine for every time we get on the Disney cruise.
Elaine, what do you do when you get on board?
So like Kristen said, it's definitely very emotional. Even just getting to the port and you get the first glimpse of the ship. I mean, that is one of those oh my God, there it is. And I get surprised how big it is every single time. It's very and when we board, I don't give them my real name. I will give them a different name every single time because it's fun. When we traveled with Hannah recently from our team, I told them that we were Hannah and the Bananas. And so we all boarded and they announced Hannah and the Bananas. I haven't said that we are the Cookie family before. I will tell them something different every time just because it's funny. So you don't have to tell them your real name if you don't want to. So, or if you're traveling with a child and it's their first time, maybe you tell them just the child's name and they will announce the child's name. And so that's very fun. So when I get on board, usually I have something that I need to tend to. And this is when I do it. I try to do it as early as humanly possible when I get on board. That may be a variety of things. That may be, I want to go to the spa so that I can buy a rainforest room pass because they need to be bought. Well, they've now started putting them online as far as week long, but sometimes you want to do it in person or buy just a daily pass in person. Usually I go to the spa and do something, whether it's buy a pass, take the tour to get whatever discount that they're offering that day. If I want to like change a time of something or book something, I do that. And then if I need to, let's say that I wanted to be on first dining, but it was full and I was assigned second dining. This is a very, very common thing that a lot of people experience. They will, in your Navigator app, they will have a like listed as an activity. And I don't remember exactly what they call it, but it'll say something along of, dining changes or dining questions or something like that. It's usually in a lounge, and you go there and talk to somebody that will have a laptop, and you will tell them what you want, whether it be you want to change what your dining time is. Nothing is guaranteed, but you can ask. If you are wanting to get a Palo reservation that you weren't able to get, same kind of thing. If you're needing to change the time or take, 2 tables of 2 and add them together in 1 table for your Palo reservation, they can do all of that there. So any kind of dining adjustments, that's what they do there. And then anything else that's kind of along those lines. If there was a shore excursion that I wanted to book, or a cruise activity that I wanted to book and I wasn't able to, I'll go to the excursions desk and ask them if there's a wait list I can join or if there's availability or anything like that. So usually as soon as I get on the ship, I'm taking care of business and getting all of that done. And then we as well used to go to the buffet right after to get something to eat. But honestly, it's so overwhelming for me personally. It is very loud. There are a lot of people. And so I now avoid the buffet on Embarkation Day. And so I will do one of 2 things. Either I will just go to the pool deck and do just like a grab and go, chicken fingers, burger, whatever they got. We've also started the last couple of cruises. We've done whatever restaurant is having table service meal available. They'll have one of them designated that, again, in the app that you can sit down. They have a Embarkation special menu. It's the same on every ship, every single time. The Sunday is the very best part of it at the end, the special welcome aboard Sunday. And so it's a very limited menu, but it's very quiet. There's usually not a lot of people there. It's cool. It's quiet. It's dark. It's a way of chilling out, but still getting fed. And then as the second my room is ready, I am in my room because I want to get away from all the people and I want to chill out.
We'll touch on rooms in just a second, but just to remind folks, and both of them mentioned that the options that you have for food. One is sit down, which is what I do because the buffet locations get a little bit much for me. There is the buffet, which is either Marceline Market or Cabanas. There's also quick service locations, and those will be open as well. Be aware of times. Look at the times because they will start to close those down at about 3:30 because usually depending on your ship, look at your Navigator app, it'll all be in there, but generally the muster drill, the safety drill is around 4:30, something like that. So they have all those people have assignments associated with that. So they're going to be closing those down. So make sure you get something to eat so you don't become ultra hangry. So make sure we talked about this in the kids embarkation episode. So I'll point you there for more details. But the open house in the kids clubs, A, to get them registered, B, to have them experience that space. Again, much more details, and I'll have the link to that episode in the show notes, so you can find it nice and easily. But that's a great time, great place, and just exploring the ship. Elaine, you were talking about your stateroom, and you're ready to go. People sometimes think that their stateroom is ready right away. That's not the case.
That is correct. And so remember that carry-on bag that we talked about at the very beginning and how Kristen's carrying enough for her army. And I do mean to ask you, Kristen, as far as all of your paperwork and citizen, do you have an entire trapper keeper of all of this stuff, or is everybody on their own?
Oh no, I definitely have to be in charge of it, and I have a little like zip up. It's like a little miniature trapper keeper. I actually got it, I think, from the Wish inaugural sailings. You guys probably have one too. It's like a little zip up thing, and
Hmm.
that's where I keep everything.
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah. That's fun.
and
Okay.
it's always like everything's always in there, even at home. It's like packed up in this little thing, and I just
You're ready to go at
make
a moment's notice.
yes.
That's right.
So
So
I wouldn't
once you
trust
get
anyone
on
else.
board, we generally they say that the rooms are ready starting at 1:30. So that does not mean they are guaranteed to be ready at 1:30. I have been waiting outside you can't even get in the hallway. They have like the fire doors closed and locked that you cannot even get anywhere near your room. And I have camped outside of those fire doors for half an hour before, waiting for them to be opened because they did not open until 2 o'clock or whatever. And during this time, they are working very, very, very fast to turn over the room, they've stripped all the bedding, they've cleaned everything, sanitized everything, gotten it ready for you. And as soon as that door opens, I am in my room. And at that time, you may find your key to the work cards up posted right outside the door, or you may not. You may be handed to them in the front. Like I said, there may be a change going on. You will also find on that little, we used to call them fish extenders, but now on the new ships, there's other things. So it
Right.
might be a Cinderella carriage or something else up there, but there's going to be something right outside your door. And that's where they're going to have the room keys. They're also going to have little cards up there for anything that you might find, like tickets for an excursion, or if you have a spa time reserved. Like there's going to be little cards with
Adult
information
dining.
of that you might want to grab. Yeah. So make sure you check all of that. And sometimes they also give you those things throughout the week. So definitely make sure you check all of that and remove those things swiftly so that nobody else does. And then we get in the room, and I would love to say my luggage is there waiting for me, but it's not usually there. It might be there within an hour, or it might be 6, 7, 8 o'clock before you get your luggage. On this last cruise, my luggage did not show up until like 7:30, and so it was very anxious waiting for it to show
Yeah.
up.
I know I get
So
nervous when we've pulled away from the dock and I don't have my bags yet, yeah, but it's all good. Just an important point to remember: your rooms will not be ready, so whatever you are carrying on board, you are going to be carrying until your room is
yeah,
ready. So
yeah,
just keep that in mind as you're planning. One of the and the other point that as you board, if you have groups. And particularly if you're in different castaway club levels, you may have different boarding times. They may let you go on board at the same time, if you don't, it's fine. Just choose a space on board. I usually suggest up by the pool deck somewhere. There's a space I always choose on the port side. It's kind of the far side from the port, and just say, "Hey, this is where we're going to be." Station yourself, and then meet up there, and it just makes it a lot easier. And then you can all grab lunch and have a space and get your first cocktail or whatever you need, and get through all that stuff. One of the things, and I want to be conscious of time because we're running out of time, but I don't want to get away without one of the really stressful things about this first day is the mandatory muster drill. It is essentially the safety demonstration when they will show you how to put on a life vest. They will show you where you need to go in the unlikely event that there is an emergency. They will show you where you need to be. This, by and large, is everyone's least favorite period of not only this day but of their cruise. If you're on the port side of the ship, it's going to be hot. And the sun may be beating down on you. So just maybe have some water. They're going to blow the emergency horns. So if your kids are sensitive or if you're sensitive, be prepared for that. They'll announce that when it's going to go off, but be sure and pack your patience. Everyone's got to be there. Don't try and avoid it because they will hold everyone else until everybody is there. Everybody will need their key to the world card or their Disney Band Plus, so they're going to check everybody, and they're going to go through a little safety demonstration. It's all part of the safety process. So I understand how bleh it is. I don't like it. During COVID, they did a virtual thing, like that much better. But it's absolutely essential, and you need to be there. So just be aware and make the toughest challenge is after that is done, everybody is going to want to get up to the top deck for the sail away party. Elaine, how do you deal with that? Because that's like, I think that is my least, that it's not even the muster drill that I mind so much, but that absolute shove and push and herd of humanity. That's just not fun for me. So I just say, okay, everyone go, I'll be up there in 10 minutes. How do you deal with that time?
So I do like the sail away party. I do think it's really fun. And what we do is we never go, it takes place on the stage right in front of the main pool in the center of the deck. And I do not go down to that level because you are probably in a scalding hot sun or you're getting rained on. It's going to be one of those two things. And so, and we are going to be around a whole lot of people. And so none of that is fun for me. I like to find a place up on the deck above it and on the rail and just look over the rail, because then I can see all of the fun and all of the action, but I don't have anybody else really around me. And there's usually a breeze going on, so I'm a lot cooler, or I can find a place in the shade, that kind of thing. I do like it. I think it's so fun. I like they are counting down, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then when that one hits, the ship's horn goes. They usually have a little confetti spray, and then you are moving within a few minutes of that. I mean, you start moving. I just got chills talking about it. I swear, I just got goosebumps talking about it. It's just a really, really, really fun moment, especially if you've never done it before. And it's different on every ship. They're even called different things on every ship. So I do think it is a really fun time.
One of the questions that we often get, and I mention it every show, if you book with Dreams, we're going to give you a shipboard credit. On the app, you will be able to look at your folio, your what you've spent and stuff. The shipboard credit is not going to show up on that first day. Generally, it's about a day, maybe, by dinner on the second day of your cruise, it will be there. It's there. Trust me, we have checks and balances, so we make sure that it's there. But if it doesn't show up right when you're on board, don't, again, my function key F2, don't panic. It will be fine. It will be there. So don't panic. Kristen, anything? We covered a whole bunch of stuff and given people a whole bunch of stuff. Anything else you think people should know about this day, this first day on board?
No, not that I can think of. I think we've covered it all. We talked about the stress, but also we talked about all the great stuff and how wonderful it is. So just sit back and enjoy that magical Disney cruise. I love it. It's really, the Disney cruise right now is really what's best for our family. We're really in our cruise era, I guess. I'm enjoying it a little more than the parks. So if you haven't done it and you're a park fan, definitely need to check it out.
Awesome. With that being said, we're going to start to wrap this up. As I always say, we'd love for you to book with Dreams Unlimited Travel. Literally, it helps us pay for what we do here. And I'll tell you, I was a Dreams client before I was a Dreams agent, so I've seen the value. Best place to start, dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. You can just click on the cruise button. The first page will ask you your itinerary and your cruise dates. On the second page at the very top, there's a pull-down menu of all the Dreams agents. You want to select Elaine, you can do that. You want to select Kristen, you can do that. Or you don't have to select anyone. All the Dreams agents are super awesome. So you can find anyone. Elaine, any thoughts you want to leave with folks? And of course, tell them how they can get in touch with you.
Yes, my two things I wanted to throw in is that if you are re-embarking, so if you are doing a back-to-back sailing, what is going to happen is the night before you get off the ship, they're going to give you some colored tickets in an envelope in your room. You need to have those tickets in your pocket. You're going to get off the ship, just like you would any other time. I usually try to wait around so that I'm one of the last people to get off, and then you're going to go all the way through customs. You're just not going to take anything with you. You're just going to leave your bags there. But then when you come back, you're just going to like literally go through customs and then walk outside and then turn around and walk back inside. You're back in the port and you sit and wait. And usually it's 45 minutes to an hour, but then you have those tickets and you are the first one to get back on the ship. So it is an expedited embarkation. And like I said, you're the very, 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 very first ones back on the ship. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is when you were talking about multiple
let me just
groups,
on that point before you move on, if you have different staterooms, you may have to pack up your bags, but they will move your bags to your new stateroom for you, which is kind of awesome. So I just want to make sure and note that. Yeah, Lane, go.
yeah, I just didn't want to get deep in the weeds of back to back, so we can do a show about back to back because people are
totally
interested. But the other thing about if you have multiple staterooms traveling together, and Chris mentioned about you can ask to board together. Let's define that a little bit. If my boarding group number is 5 and Kristen's boarding group number is 9, Kristen cannot board with me when they call 5. I can choose to wait and board with her when they call 9. So if that is the most important thing to your vacation, is that all of your staterooms have that moment to go together, you need to wait until the very last boarding number is called. You don't need to ask anybody. All you need to do is wait, because you can board when your boarding group is called anytime after. So just wait for that very last number to be called and then board. So I hope that kind of clarifies that a little bit. So
yeah, it's a really good point. And yeah, go.
My email is Elaine, ELAINE @dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. However, if you're wanting a quote, just go straight to the website, because that's going to get you to me a lot faster.
Yeah, much faster. Kristen, how do people get in touch with you? Again, they can go to dreamsunlimitedtravel.com, but if they want to email you with a question or comment, how do they do that?
Yeah, you can email me at kristen@dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. My name is spelled a little different. It's KRYSTIN @dreamsunlimitedtravel.com, and I will get back to you.
Awesome. And the one other thing that on my last cruise, I got to do prima notte. This is only done on the first night of the ship. It's a wine tasting, wine pairing thing that they do up in Palo. It's lovely. I have a story on DCLfan.com, and I will put that in the show notes, which you can find on DCLfan.com. So you can find that. If you want to reach me, Chris V @dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Yes, there is a Chris, so I'm Chris V @dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. I'm also on social media, Yensid Travel, all one word. Yensid is Disney spelled backwards, and it's the Sorcerer and Sorcerer's Apprentice. There you go. And I'm on most of the social media platforms. Thank you all for joining us. Special thanks to our producer, as always, Jimmy Valdez. And of course, thank you. We appreciate you being here. Depending on where you're watching or hearing this, please like, subscribe, leave us a review. It really does help us. There are these things called algorithms, and it helps get our content to the people who are actually interested in it. I don't fully understand it. It's all that computer stuff, but there you go. They tell me it's true, so it must be true. And if you have topics for us, you can leave those on the YouTube comments, the DCL Fan Facebook page. There was a whole bunch of people talking about Disney Cruise Line, so it's really awesome. You can leave that, or just send me an email, or however you want to reach out. We'd love to hear with you. With that, safe travels. We'll see you. Get on board that ship and just breathe into it, and we'll see you real soon.